Hi there, welcome to another edition of Founder Focus, where we take a deep dive into the mind of an interesting founder and pluck out insights and ideas for the benefit of the entire founder community. Today, we are trying a co-hosting of this recording. So it's myself and Matt Mower, two for the price of one in the chair. Matt, how are you doing?
Good morning, Tom. I'm doing really well, thank you. Looking forward to this.
Excellent stuff. And our guest today is Neil Linford-Relph, the founder of the product and service design consultancy, The Design Business. So we're talking the world of design today. Neil, it's great to have you with us. How are you doing?
I'm very good, very good. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you very much for the invite.
Excellent stuff. Matt, you've got the questions. Do you want to dive in and let's see what insights we can grab from Neil today?
Sure. Okay, Neil, good to have you with us. This will just be a light flambeing, according to Tom. So let's start with a question around the outset of your journey. So what was the light bulb moment, when you look back at the beginning of your journey, what was the light bulb moment that seems most significant as the start of your journey?
I think that having been around a lot of founders and their kind of desire and innovation to step out and do something, to be fair, I didn't have a personal light bulb moment. I didn't leap out of my career and go, I'm going to be a founder. For me, I'd been on a wonderful career that had taken me 25 years and some really exciting projects and really exciting companies I've worked for. And I'm very grateful for all of those. But unfortunately, towards the end of career, or towards the end, I developed epilepsy. I started having catatonic seizures, and they put it all down to the fact that I filled my pint glass full of stress. I wouldn't say that there was anything wrong with me. There weren't any specific key moments, but then these blackouts and etc. started happening, and then that kind of finally got to a point where the last one, I smacked my head on the patio, got bleeding on the brain, and everybody just went, "This needs to stop." So that then kind of reset what I was doing, and I kind of built from there, and then went into COVID and I started doing my own design thing and discovering how I could take those 25 years of experience and bring it to a smaller, or bring it to smaller, exciting businesses. I was working with banks, corporations, massive consultancies, but I wanted to bring that creativity and those processes and that confidence to people in my local area, people that I could talk to, people who were doing things that I believed in, and working in sectors that I really cared for. So, that's kind of why I stepped out and did that.
I guess it's still a light bulb moment, whether you turn the light bulb on or somebody else does.
I guess so. And I think at the very start of that, being a designer, it was almost like when you're in the design agency, what was the toughest job in a design agency? It's your own website. So when I, in the design community, I kind of went, okay, well, what is the brand of the design business? How do I look at that? I mucked around with names and I mucked around with lots of different kind of creative things. And I end up pulling things that I cared about as the source points of the look and feel. So for one, the color, which I really, really love, I've put it in the background there, Celeste. I used to be quite a good racing cyclist. And the color is from a famous Italian brand called Bianchi, and it's the oldest bike company in or manufacturer in the world. And that Celeste color came up. That's brilliant. Then I want something multicolored. So staying on the cycling theme, there's a yellow from the Tour de France. There's a pink from the Giro. Then looking at typefaces, I have a degree in typography. I can, talk about fonts and typefaces all day long. But one key moment during my degree was I kind of understood, and I've got it here, Eric Gill on typography. And I really understood the kind of form, and it kind of, there was a light bulb moment in my career or in my university career where I understood about the essence of where these characters were coming from. And it was a kind of trigger moment in my degree. So I thought, yeah, no, it's going to be Gill. And then there was a complementary typeface that went with that, which is I'm a lifelong Brighton fan, which is much better now than it used to be. But I got a wonderful chap called Jerry Brown wrote this thing on the fan experience for Brighton and Hove Albion, and he asked me to design it. So I'm really proud of this, but it's just like Din is their typeface, and it kind of inspires me. So whenever I look at my own brand, I've got my university, my cycling, and my football team. And that kind of, I look at it and it's me, and it feels really authentic, and I encourage everybody else to tell their story through their brand.
Neil, that's awesome, and I think that's a great thing. Getting your culture, it doesn't have to be obvious, but just getting those little seeds of your own culture and your own background into your brand is awesome. Well done for that.
Cool.
Question 2. What did you learn from establishing your product market fit?
I think, yeah, as I kind of touched on, sort of, taking, designing, banking apps and websites and customer servicing, and then going, well, how do I bring those massive digital transformation projects and that experience from there to sort of like founders and smaller businesses. And I think the processes that I developed through that were about trying to get the perfect brief, about trying to get the conversation away from what people thought, or trying to understand, or challenging the politics and culture. But how do you get everybody on a corporate side to actually understand what they want to do, believe in the solution, and be actively part of that solution? So those were the processes that I was familiar with, and I wanted to take those and then put them into a process that worked for the smaller businesses. And I think the first one was quite interesting. I did a kind of local job for my bike shop that's the end of the road. It was more fun than it was a proper working project. But I actually used a very similar process to something I'd used on a bank, where we looked at who your customers are. We looked at what is it they wanted to do. They wanted to, we didn't look at what bikes we wanted to sell them. They wanted to look at what kind of cycling they wanted to do. And that whole kind of sense of user-centered design is about what they want, what value you bring to them. And that was really important in that one design process. So that gave me encouragement that the things that I'd done and the processes I'd used before were actually applicable to, making people comfortable and excited about cycling, which was an interesting thing to do. From that, I've developed this structure, sort of as towards the end of last year, which I'm really confident in, which is like the business purpose. What is the business purpose that you have? What do you believe in? What is it that you want your employees to say when they come to work? Oh, I do this, and it's because, that really clear understanding of purpose. As I alluded to there, the whole idea of customer value. What is it? How do you bring value to people's lives? What is that small part of their life that your business makes better? And if you think about that, you have that conversation, that gives any client a mindset shift. They're not thinking about what website they need, what logo they need. They're thinking about, what do they want to do? Why do I get up in the morning and go to work? How are people going to gain value from what I do? And if it's just joining those two things together, and then I can help them create the creative vision of what that is. It's even better when they get actively involved in that, because then once I'm out of the picture, they're continuing, they believe in it. It's their solution, it's not mine. And then from that point, I'm fortunate to have worked in print, digital, web, app, brand. And when it comes to design delivery, I'm happy to just pop in, help them, take the whole thing, or work with existing teams and bring that skill and experience to where it's best suited. And with every client, it's different. And I love that. That's exciting.
Neil, very quickly, what would you say is the biggest difference in experience of customer value between big corporate clients and smaller, more business owner-owned businesses?
To me, I don't think there is one. Because so when I was, I had the pleasure of spending 4 or 5 years kind of heading up the team at Barclaycard, or for the company that was working for Barclaycard. And we really took the step that it wasn't about selling credit cards. It was about, actually, it's the lifestyle moments. We were 30 somethings and we were using credit cards. I was getting married. We were having kids. We were moving houses. We needed money, but we needed money for a purpose. So that was kind of thing. Similarly, back to the bike shop analogy, people are changing the way they commute. They've got a health thing they want to deal with. They have kids that they want to grow and get out in the world. They want to experience positive things. It's all about life and understanding that, which is, it's why we need a Barclaycard to buy the bike. I mean, the bike is actually the end result, if you see what I mean. So it's that motivation. And I think as soon as you look at the customer and go, what is the value we're bringing? Everything then leads up to that. everything. And yeah,
Neil, is that something that's actually a really useful thing we can tell the founder community today, is that actually there isn't that difference, but people think there is. They think that all of these tactics and processes and the way that this works for corporates is nothing to do with the founder experience. Whereas I guess, is the message that intention always requires representation, and that is design. And it doesn't matter whether you're a massive company or a small company, your intention needs a representation, and that's why design is important to all of us. And we shouldn't shy away from that. We should investigate that.
100%. I think that's true. And I think one of the things to share with the founder community is that in corporate, a lot of the work that we did as designers was trying to unpick decades of siloed community. We were trying to teach them how to behave like founders, to behave like, the West Coast tech firms, because they didn't have that legacy. What I love about the founder community, there is no legacy. Obviously finances are a little bit more challenged, but what I love about design is actually, if you've got a brief, you've got a purpose, and you know what you want, you can actually spend less money. You'll employ the people that you want to, who really connect with the business that you have, and they won't want to leave. And that, in its sense, will save a founder. If the founder thinks about design up front, thinks about experience, both customer and employee, and purpose, their own business purpose, they will actually be able to make really informed decisions about the tech, the recruitment, the strategy for sales, all of those things, if they understand their brief. And that's kind of, if I was to have a mission, that's probably it.
That's a useful insight. Thank you, Neil. Neil, what support or resources have been most significant in helping you on your founder journey?
Best bit of advice I got is lots of conversations. Get in a room, learn from other people's experiences. You don't go networking to sell. You go there to learn, to grow, to understand. So that really is have lots of conversations. Putting yourself in the right room. You've got to make sure that you're in a room with, again, people that are inspiring you, that are challenging you, but also can take you in the direction that you want. Listening rather than talking, and not being frightened to ask for help and say that you don't know. Because so much of my previous career, you almost felt like you had to know everything, and if you didn't know everything, it was embarrassing. I know nothing about running a company. I don't know how to sell. I've never sold myself. I know very little about finances. I've never actually marketed my own business, but I do know, I guess, my service. So ask for help.
Neil, just a quick supplementary question. You mentioned the things that you're not an expert in finance or selling. For those people who aren't expert in design, what are the ways in which they can feel more confident in engaging with it and procuring it? Because it's not an easy thing to buy design. It's not an easy thing to feel comfortable to go out and find the right provider. Have you got any tips for people on how they can do it better?
I think first to understand is design is not art. It's a process. It's goes from brief, or the need to brief to, what are your end goals? That's business planning. But it's business planning. The things that sit next to that are much softer. That's how it looks. It's how it feels. It's all about experience. But they're saying things that have a marker on your business success, same as financial inputs. There's a wonderful thing in the Business Value of Design report by McKinsey that says that, successful firms should look at design with the same rigor as they do with their accounts and revenue. And I think that's true, because if you have an unhappy customer, that's worse than a big debt. So I think understanding that it's a process. And also there's lots of people trying to sell you stuff in creativity. And I love all my fellow creatives, but you don't necessarily need all those things. So you need to know whether you do need a website. You do need a CRM. You do need a social media campaign. Do you need 200,000 followers on Instagram? Well, possibly not. And it's really kind of understanding that brief. So yeah, design is a process, 90%, possibly 99% of it. And then obviously you do need the people that can come in and give you that little bit of creative magic. But a lot of that might actually be inside your own team. You'll be surprised.
I think that's an awesome answer, and you're absolutely right to say get a range of views. There's always different ways to different parts of success, but design is core to business in the same way other things are. So, Neil, that's awesome. Thanks so much.
Question 4. What's the most surprising thing that's happened on your founder journey so far?
I'd say actually becoming, being called a founder would be one. I never really thought I was a founder. Being invited into a founder community, I got approached, would you want to get involved in talks and going to events in London, and then, that's been really inspiring to see all of the creativity and ideas that these, exciting young entrepreneurs have. So that was never on the business plan. That was exciting, and it has really steered where I've gone over the last year or so.
Just to say, some of those exciting older entrepreneurs.
I do apologize. Well, everybody, if you're an entrepreneur, you're young at heart.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, last question. What is the North Star that you are currently aiming toward?
I must admit, I don't have one. I think for me, or maybe I'm actually living under the North Star, not to get too hippie about it all, but I think what I learned through my career is always driving towards something that was in the future. And you have things that kind of shock you and move you on, and you're not quite sure what that future will be. Is to actually take pleasure in the moment. And what I've experienced through what I've done as a founder, am I as rich as, am I getting, the same kind of remuneration as I was? Maybe that will change. Hopefully it will. But it's not the driver. The driver is to enjoy what I do. I've really reconnected with design, and I feel happy with that. Connect with my family. I've done all the school runs and etc. I'm present. Kids went off to school this morning. They'll be home this afternoon, and I'm there and I'm visible. I used to leave at 6 a.m., come back at 7 or 8, and be continually anxious about trying to be in 2 different places at once. So that's really, really important. And then, something else I'm super proud of. I ended up, I was never a footballer. I was a cyclist, but I ended up getting asked to coach and sponsor my son's football team from age 7 through to, they're under 11s now. And as of yesterday, they're in the semi-final of the League Cup, which was very exciting. But that being part of those moments, he will never forget his dad was there on the sideline. And also what I've learned from the parents, from the kids, I will never get as much joy about seeing another boy play their first match, score their first goal. Those are the things that are going to stay with me forever. And being an independent founder is great. I also have lots of people wearing the design business logo. So I've got my own kind of football team, which is, I'm not Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I haven't bought Manchester United, but I still have my own football team.
Awesome. What? Just out of interest, Neil, what league is that? Where can we go watch that team?
It's the Thames Valley Development League, and hopefully, if we've got one more match to get to the final, and that will be at the Slough FC football stadium. So that will be a wonderful experience for everybody to have.
Awesome. Go support grassroots football, everybody.
Neil, thank you so much for your insightful answers and for sharing them with us today. Been very glad to have you with us.
That's been brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.